Hey, what's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the Brown Gent. First live stream in the new digs. Hope you guys are doing well. Let's just be honest here. I've noticed that just across the board, the number of people who are interested in crypto is super down. You know what I mean? Like, let's just be straight up. People just don't like being around in tough times, but tough times is where the real money is to be made. And I'm glad that you guys are tuned in. What people will fade, they can buy your bags 3 to 4 to 5 months from now. So I'm not saying that you've got to stop and just jump in and buy everything. That is not the purpose of this video. What I want to talk to you about is it's about that time where you really have to start thinking about being positioned. Now, I know some of you are going to say, well, Brown Gent, I've been positioned. I didn't sell anything. Fantastic. If you got the opportunity to buy the dip, you can look at doing that, or you can just sit on your hands if that's the case. But I know a lot of you have also listened to some of the things I was telling you about stabling your crypto to some level, right? I didn't stable everything. I sold a ton of Ethereum and I have been buying back in. I'm going to share some of the things I've been looking at that by all means is not an exclusive list. So please don't come at me if I don't bring up your favorite token. That's not the point of this video either. I just want to instill a sort of mindset in you and why. If we go back about 6 weeks, you guys were telling me I was crazy to be selling. You guys were telling me that I should be bullish. And in fact, by being more conservative and more bearish at that time, I saved a lot of money. Those who listened saved a lot of money. And just like we always see, people love to be NPCs. Not saying you guys are, but people just love to follow the crowd. Why? Because there's safety in numbers. So when everyone is bullish, and despite certain market conditions telling you otherwise, people still want to be blindly bullish, and they will attack people sort of like a cult. They'll come at you and go, no, I don't want to sell. You telling me that it's time to be bearish. Maybe that means you have to recognize a loss or whatever. That happens. Guys, I sold Ethereum that I bought at 3,300 US for 2,800 knowingly. At a time when people were like, no, guys, we got the bounce off to 2,100. We're going to keep going up, right? You guys need to please stop listening to stupid people. There are people out there. I see, Jordan saying this right here about Miles, right? I think you're talking about Miles D. Miles D was telling you guys in February that you should be all in. Miles D is an idiot. Miles D, that guy steals people's content from what I've heard. You know what I mean? All they do is repackage people's content. They have nothing of value to add. And these guys are effectively scammers. These guys are, if you want to sort of see an example, watch Crypto Boy, because it's just basically that. People who don't know anything, peddling a bunch of things, gaining a following, gaining a notoriety. And these guys don't have money, or the money they've gotten are like ill-gotten gains. They get sponsorship deals because people don't know any better on who to trust. So people get audiences, and companies and protocols start thinking that they're the ones who are experts. So let me get into all of this. As always, what I'm going to say is nothing I say is financial advice. So just do your own research. I'm just a guy on YouTube, right? And if you haven't done so already, do me a favor and smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitter if that's where you're watching from. And also, if you want, the links to my paid services are down below. Now, I made this video and sort of went live or queued the video up about an hour or two ago when Bitcoin's price was a little lower. So obviously, at 83,500, way better price to buy than 84,000, right? But here's my thing. What you have to understand about this is it's not about capturing 100% of the move, right? I'm going to show you that in a second. I'm going to go on TradingView, just take a random chart and show you something. But by the way, guys, while I'm doing this, please post your comments, your questions down below. I'm going to get to them. Okay. So let me just go here and let's just move this chart over here. I'm going to draw something for you. Okay. So let's say we got a typical chart, and typical chart, you can ignore the axes. Okay. So typical chart, right? We bought in here or something, let's just say, okay? We bought in here. Typical chart going up, great, fantastic. Right? Like this. And we sell here, right? So let's say this is a sell, and this is the buy. Now, some people will go, Brown Jen, if you were going to sell here, why didn't you sell here? Because I don't have a fucking time machine and I can't tell you that was going to be the top. But what we look for is when the market structure is changed, right? Are we in an uptrend, right? An uptrend is basically, right? So higher lows and higher highs, right? So right? Right? Makes sense, right? Every single low is higher, right? Every single high is higher. Now, what happens when you go like this, and go like this, right? Now, we have broken that trend, right? We didn't break the trend here because once again, it was a higher low, but here, lower high, and we started the opposite. So what you want to do is you want to pay attention to the trend. Now, something that somebody who I really respect in this space, because remember, guys, I am not a technical, like a TA expert. I am not one of those. I understand it, which you should have a basic understanding of TA. But just like you would, I don't know how many of you work in an organization. You don't have to say what organization you work in. Say yes if you work in an organization, you know? You don't have to give any more details than that. Just put yes in the chat if you work for an organization or if you're self-employed, right? Let me give you the example so you understand this. So, you know, as these come in a basic organization, right? You have your human resources, you have finance, you have marketing, you have supply chain, whatever, right? You have more functions based on what you do, right? So I worked in pharma. Pharma had HR. Pharma had our C-level suite. We had our supply chain people, our marketing people, everything like that, right? So you have all these functions that work together. Now, I used to be the head of marketing and sales. Does that mean that I'm an expert on HR? No. I knew very basic HR stuff. Why? Because I had to recruit people. When I was recruiting people and interviewing them, I had to understand the gist of HR, right? Same with supply chain. I understand the gist of it. But what happens? You have experts. You have experts in each of these functions that you can rely on. You need to just make it for yourself that you have a rudimentary understanding of these concepts, so that when you refer to experts, it makes sense and you go, okay, I understand. So the same thing goes here. Please, when you're in crypto, there's just too much. Don't try to do everything on your own. You won't be able to, and it's just not worth it. This is why you have to understand what your lane is. Are you very good at following instructions, right? Are you an executor, right? That will be my sales rep. I give them the strategy. They go out with the customer and execute on the strategy. Are you the person coming up with the strategy? That's a different thing. That's marketing, right? You're looking at data and making a strategy. Or are you the person who's now, like, you know, if you're trading meme coins, right? You are a low time frame trader. Are you more of an investor or a flipper, like like not a scalper, but a swing trader? Then you are a high time frame trader. Find out what your expertise is and then consult with people who are experts in everything else. Does this make sense? This is why when I say, oh, I'm not an expert on TA, people are like, oh, the brown gent, I guess he's not as smart as he says he is. Yeah, I'm not. I never said I was super smart. But guess what I am? I am resourceful. I will always look to consult with people who I believe who are experts in those respective fields. That being said, I don't want to just sit there and they talk about things and it makes no sense. That's why you want to have a basic understanding, right? So understanding the idea of trends is very important, right? So understanding that this is an uptrend, right? Where you have higher lows and higher highs, and then downtrend, right? Lower highs, lower lows. And understanding the switch between these two is super important. Now, let me tell you something. It goes beyond this, because what I showed you here could literally be on the minute chart, right? It could be in the daily chart or the hourly chart. It could be in the daily chart, the weekly chart, or the monthly chart. Now, the reason I say all this today is what you have to understand, and I think Trader Main, by the way, is a fantastic technical analyst from Vancouver. If you aren't following him on YouTube, I would highly recommend it. I will put a link to his channel after today's video. The reason for this is he has this concept. I thought it was very interesting. You have to look at the time frames as ships. Imagine a sailboat, or a paddle boat. A paddle boat is very easy to turn, right? Imagine you're in a bigger boat. But imagine you're in Titanic. You remember the Titanic movie, right? I think everyone here has seen it. The Titanic, they saw an iceberg and they're trying to change course and they still couldn't do it, right? They saw it on the thing, they tried to move it. The bigger the time frame, the harder it is to change the trend. So when the trend has changed, it's so much more impactful. So when you're looking at trend changes, don't just look at the minute, right? That's not useful because it can change like every 20 minutes. Don't just look at the hourly. You want to keep doing this and scale up and see, okay, at what point is the trend actually still holding true, right? Case in point here, I was looking at what Trader Main was sharing the other day. If you look at Bitcoin on the weekly, we're in a downtrend, but in the monthly, we still have not broken the trend, right? And the reason this is so important is when you're looking at trends, obviously, the bigger time frame means a bigger confirmation, but it also means you have less time to act. For the monthly time frame trend to be broken, we have to be below like 70K or 68K or something like that. So what does that mean? Well, you would have had to have held Bitcoin from 84,000 to 68K to then say, okay, now the monthly trend is that we're in a downtrend. Does that make sense? And by the way, I won't go into too much details. I will link you guys to his last video. And this is what it's all about, okay? So I hope this makes a lot of sense to you. And the reason I say this to you is because at the end of the day, I don't want you to feel bad. I don't want you to feel stupid if you aren't good at something. That's the reality. We each have a different personality and we have our own comfort zones. Find out what you're good at and then make sure that you consult or you follow experts who can tell you things about others, right? Why I subscribe? So I have a paid subscription to Because Bitcoin. The reason for this is, number one, Jackus. I've talked to you guys about him so many times. Incredible. But I get like a 2-hour in the morning recap of everything that's going on. I don't have to do the research. For me, that was worth $300. And then from that, I have the information. So I don't have to go and spend hours and hours and hours doing research. It makes it very easy for me to multitask, okay? So going back to crypto, we're sitting here right now. This has been, it's been about 6 weeks. 6 weeks since we had that massive liquidation wick, right? When I believe maybe 6 weeks and a half, Ethereum was $3,300, right? 33? Yeah, 33. Then it went to 2,200 in the court, and then it rebounded 2,800, right? And since then, we have come down. I'm going to show you the charts of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and others in a second. Here's the thing. Have you guys heard of a blow-off top, right? A blow-off top, and the reason I bring this up, blow-off tops are, they're incredible when you see them. And a case in point example would be Pepe or Sui in December, right? Just think about, or XRP, just something that just skyrockets, right? Where you're like, every day you're looking at it, you're like, wow, it keeps going up. This is incredible. So pumped, so happy. People are FOMOing in and everything. But the problem with blow off tops is you end up getting a correction, because what you want to look at it like is it's like a rocket, right? So the rocket going up, eventually the gas will run out. And the reason the gas will run out is at every time the price goes up, more people are incentivized to sell because they're more in profit, right? So what happens is you have this huge rally, and people, the dumbasses out there like Miles will tell you, hey, no, hold it. It's going to 10x from here, stuff like this. So if you think about Sui, right, 90 cents, I think I mentioned to buy Sui at like $1.30 or $1.40 or something. And then, I said to keep buying it until $2, and then it went to like $5, right? Or XRP was 50 cents, went to 270, right? But in one to 3-4 weeks, it skyrockets. So what happens over here is people start taking profits, and those who choose not to take profits end up round tripping. And why I say this right now, because obviously we're at a point in time where you want to buy the dip, is I always tell people the following: do not be greedy on the upside. As the price of something goes up, start taking profits. Start removing pieces. Have a plan. This is why it's important for you guys not to sit there and have 300 different tokens in your wallet, right? If you limit yourself to 10 to 15, I don't even like 10, but 5 to 10 maybe, all of a sudden you are so much more on top of those tokens. And on top of that, you also will have a plan for all of them, right? So you know exactly where you're going to start cutting, and you want to be smart about it, because you need to make sure that you give yourself the opportunity to buy back in when the hype has died off. If you've been in crypto for any amount of time or any other speculative asset, whether it's Pokemon cards, you will see that these hype cycles happen so much, right? You got a blow off top, tons of people taking profits, things end up coming down significantly, and then it goes back up. And I'll be honest, sometimes even I will fall for these things. Like, I was selling a lot of those cryptos like Link and stuff, but I didn't sell Pepe. I didn't sell Pepe when it went to like all-time highs off the Coinbase listing. I was like, okay, fantastic, altcoin season, right? Should have sold some, right? It would have allowed me to 5 to 6x my bag just by selling it where we sort of peaked and sat for a day and a bit, which I should have known was the top at the time. Now, just like I say, don't be greedy on the upside. You're going to have this downside too, right here, right? Where you see this sort of downside and mean reversion. Don't be too greedy on the downside, because what I don't want to have happen is, let's say, for a case in point, you had Ethereum, right? Whether or not you sold it 2,800, the top, whatever, or you sold it recently. Once we mark the bottom and start coming up, right? Now we won't know until the future if this is truly the bottom or if it's a come back down. But what I can tell you is, if you sold your Ethereum and you just start seeing Ethereum start rallying and running without you, most of you will chase it. So, and I say Ethereum, replace Ethereum with anything that you want to buy. You cannot get too greedy on the downside. That doesn't mean, once again, just like I'm telling you at the tops and as we're going up, that you don't just sell everything, right? You layer out, so you give yourself the opportunity to get more gains. On the way down, go, okay, great. I'm going to start DCAing, buying into these things, because it allows me, if we end up going, I won't have to chase. What I don't want you guys doing is chasing. I don't want you chasing at the top, and I don't want you chasing on a bottom bounce. I don't want you doing that. I want you guys doing this when stuff is near their bottoms. Does that make sense? And that way you can DCA into it, and then if it comes down lower, you can buy more. This is the safest way to make money in crypto. And also, when you're doing this, I recommend doing this with assets you have conviction in. Do not buy something because some idiot called Miles or some other retard or some, the brown gent told you to buy something. Don't buy things because of this. Buy it because you have conviction. When I tell my coaching students, you have to be able to explain it to like a 7th grader why you're buying this. If your answer starts with, well, somebody else told me to, well, when things are down, you won't feel conviction enough to buy the dip. And when things go up, you're not going to feel strongly enough to sell it because you won't know. You'll be waiting on the advice of somebody else versus yourself. So this is why I say conviction is so important. It's hard to borrow conviction from somebody else, right? Yes, you can copy trade and be profitable that way, but you need to be really tight with somebody to know exactly what's going on with that. But you're going to make the most money, not quote unquote believing in something, but by getting the most of the move as possible, right? Like I said, you don't need to sell the top here. You don't need to sell the tops here to make money. You can sell here and you can buy here and just keep doing that. But what you don't want to do is go, okay, you buy, you buy here, you sell here, it comes back down here, you don't buy it at all, and then it comes back up to the top here, and then you buy it. You want to avoid that kind of behavior, okay? Now, if we take a look over here, take a look at crypto fear and greed. Fear is, very close to extreme fear. Last week, we had the yearly low, or the last 24-month low, or 12-month low, sorry, at 15. But we're not far off, right? Fear is still 22. Take a look at CoinGlass, right? You see here that for quarter one, we're down 10% on Bitcoin, 43% on Ethereum. Let me tell you guys a story. So I found out some bad news for me because I left Canada at the end of the year. That's my departure date. So I have to pay capital gains tax on Ethereum at the $4,000 price tag. So brutal. I'm talking about the Ethereum that I didn't even sell. You know what I mean? But it's down 43%. And this is why I truly think Ethereum is a fantastic opportunity. In fact, I think Bitcoin is also a pretty good opportunity, which we'll get to in a second. Monthly returns wise, very different playbook than 2021, where you'd have some very strong positive months. Been very, very weak here for Bitcoin, and unsurprisingly, I want to be able to delete all these. Control Z, all the stuff. Delete the stuff. Great. Yeah. So basically, just taking a look over here. This is a SPY, right? I don't know if you guys. I'm sure many of you have heard about it. The S&P 500, right? So this is the #1 index in the world. And obviously, this is not the actual SPY. This is Spider's SPY. But basically, taking a look at this, right? You can see that we've had a 10% correction at the lows, and we're starting to bounce back. So we're really down 8%. But this equity thing coming down, right, in the last few weeks has really destroyed the value of crypto as well. It's made it much worse. So when we take a look at this, and I open up QQQ, which is NASDAQ. Let me just bring that up as well, right? QQQ, maybe I'll just bring it up here actually. Right? Same thing. QQQ is getting destroyed. So once again, the last couple of weeks have been pretty bad. That's not to be unexpected. Equities are the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ or, tech sector really are intertwined with cryptocurrency. So if equities are doing bad, right, it just basically signals to you that the risk on appetite is much lower. So obviously a risk asset like crypto or cryptocurrency, assets will see the negative repercussions of it, right? So we see today is, green, or, and today I say because this week started, and that's why crypto is also green. It's a nice tailwind, okay, versus a headwind. So not surprised to see this doing well. I bought some Bitcoin earlier too. But just taking a look at Bitcoin, if you can get Bitcoin below $85,000, I don't see that being, that big of an issue, right? Like I think that's fine. You can see here that we came down on February 28th to 78K. We then, did that. This was the announcement, the strategic Bitcoin reserve announcement, the digital stockpile or whatever they want to call it. They were doing that stuff, right? And, it pumped. And obviously, once it became a non-factor, it came all the way back down and we went to 76K. Now, that being said, we can definitely come back down in this range. But what I'm trying to show you here, and let me just get out the price range from here to potentially here, is 18%, right? Now, below this range, the monthly is broken. So I personally am looking to DCA into Bitcoin over the next period of time. I bought some at 83. I think I bought at 83,000. But here's the thing, right? What you want to do is, by having some position here, if it comes down, you can buy more. If it goes up, great, you got your position. But let me tell you how this always works out, because I've seen this happen time and time again. Somebody won't buy much of it here, and then once Bitcoin's up to 105,000, you go, now I want to buy more. I wish I bought more later, right? When you're down here, people don't want to make the move. But when you're up here and we're, at like, a way bigger price, people will look at your position and tell you, wow, you just got so lucky. I wish I could have gotten an entry that good. You're so lucky, right? But guess what? This is why when no one else wants to do it, you need to, you obviously there's risk associated with it, but it's really like an 18% downside risk because, it comes down that much lower, you can cut your position if we actually go into a full-blown bear. But this is why the way I'm handling this is I position myself, and now if Bitcoin drops below 80,000, I will buy some more, etc. I hope that makes sense. Once again, it doesn't have to be Bitcoin you buy, because I know a lot of people will look at me and go, Brown Jen, if I buy Bitcoin, I'm not going to make much returns, right? Yeah, I don't disagree. I think if you buy Bitcoin, it's safe, but you are trading safety for your return capability. And I think you probably max make a 2x from here, right? I know some people are saying Bitcoin at 440,000, but those people are just finding the new victims, right? Those are the miles of the cycle who just want people to be trapped, right? Same thing with Ethereum, right? And I sold Ethereum at 2,800 on average price, started buying in below 2,100. Now we're at 1,950. We did come down to 1,762, right? So let me just make this a little bigger, right? And ever since then, we've just been trading sideways. Can we come down into this? For sure, right? Like you guys remember these lines I drew? These lines have not changed. Like, just look at that, right? It's literally playing out in the exact way I said. And you can go back to previous videos. That's how you know I'm not faking stuff, because a lot of these other guys like Miles and stuff will tell you stuff after the fact, or like hindsight people, which is not helpful. We're here to make money. Like, I don't need Captain Hindsight to tell me what to do. I think that's a guy from South Park, right? It's stupid. Like, oh, you should have done this. Great. But from here to here, once again, what is the edge that we have, right? So from here to here, like 20%. Once again, right? Like, that's a massive difference from up here. Up here is 45. But here, you DCA. That's why I started DCAing, and you can just buy. And then if you come down here, fantastic, right? So Bitcoin and ETH have been two that I've been buying. because they are super safe, and I'm able to put more money in crypto than I normally would because of that. Okay. Sol is the exact same way at 129. Like, I do think Sol is way weaker. There's really not the strongest use case to jump back in there, and a lot of the other tokens are sliding. But once again, 97 to $100 Sol is what I expect. If you're interested in that stuff, you can DCA in, right? So same thing here, it's 23%, right? Now, another one that I finally started buying into is Hyperliquid. Now, Hyperliquid does have their buyback program, right? So there is a moat, and I strongly believe that this token will be a triple-digit token, very, very soon. So I was waiting. I remember people on these live streams would ask me, why don't you just buy 28 bucks? I'm like, I said, I want 14. When it came to 14, the markets were like still in a, full drawdown. So I said, okay, I don't want to start buying yet. But then once it's sort of settled, right, it's consolidating. Literally, now it's sitting here at 13.5. And, that's what it is, right? Like, it's not a bad price. And finally, Ondo is another one. So I don't really like Ondo typically, but Ondo has retraced so much. And for me, it was between buying Ondo and HBAR. Ondo and HBAR are two tokens that had a massive pump in the last quarter, and they retraced majority of their gains. I believe HBAR went from 4 cents to 40 down to 18 or something. In this case, this went from 50 something cents to $2.30, $2.15. Now it's around 85, 88 cents. So I'm DCing Ondo because it's got that RWA thing with BlackRock. Like I said, you guys don't have to buy the things I'm buying. I'm giving you examples. Once again, think about the downside. Obviously, there's a lot more risk with Ondo, right, than ETH and Bitcoin. ETH and Bitcoin are the safest things you can buy here, because let's say the bull market's over. Let's just be honest here. How much lower can Ethereum go, And the answer to that is don't tell me, because Ethereum can always underperform beyond expectations. But if we go down to the worst wick, right? The worst wick that we had, this is the lowest it's been in the bear market during a capitulation event. It wicked there for a period of time, June 2022, right? That's only 54% from here, right? So the downside is not that much, right? And if we take that from the new demand level, that's about 45%, right? So it's not too bad. Now, Bitcoin has a lot more room to go, which is why I'd probably cut Bitcoin, but I would just hold ETH. Now, you don't have to cut any of these. Why? Because Bitcoin, we know, is going to keep appreciating over time. So you could also just say, hey, you know what? Forget it. I'm okay holding my Bitcoin position, and I'll wait longer term for it to go up, because what you don't want to do is cut it a little lower and then it rebounds, right? So I totally understand that approach. All right, let's get into the questions. If you guys have any other comments, questions, let me know. I'm gonna grab some water, okay? We got NW here saying, yo, always love the intro. Awesome, thank you. Let me know, guys, if you want to hear the so I'm playing the instrumental version of Your Lies, or whatever it's called. Yeah, Your Good Lies. But if you guys want, I can actually play there's actually a vocals that come with this, right? I think the vocal one is way better, for the intro maybe, but for the actual one, I don't know. I got this because somebody who I used to follow a lot, Kevin Samuels, used this song in all his videos, and I loved it, right? So, hey, AK, how are you doing? Leonidas, I don't want to be silent. Fantastic. Remember, a lot of people just don't like being around when the market is tough, right? They don't want to put the work in. But now's the time to put the work in, because then when the bull market comes on, you can literally, I can actually do this here because I got the chair to do it. You put your thing up, you're just whoo, you're just chilling, that's what you want to do, because everyone else is going to be scurrying to get their positions in, and if you've already positioned yourself, fantastic. But that's why you put the moves in now, and you you just sort of water your garden after, right? Now's the time you plant the seeds. Hey, fan man, how are you doing? Evening. It is evening here too. It's 11 p.m. Hey, Greg, how's it going? Excited to hear your thoughts. Awesome, love it. Jordan woke up to two different opposite YT advice. Yeah, well, Miles is an idiot. Miles is like the inverse of what you should do, right? Like he's like Jim Cramer. Guy literally, I would love Miles to tell me what value he adds. You know what I'm saying? He's got zero strategic bone in his body. He's like a parrot, right? Like somebody writes something, he just copies and pastes and goes, "Hey guys, I got the 10 most important things to share with you this week from whatever," and his sources are terrible. You know what I'm saying? Like at least like Miles, if Miles is listening, what I would tell him is my feedback to him is, dude, why do you like copy and paste stuff off stupid people? At least steal it from people who know what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like imagine going to a test and cheating off the dumbest person in your class. Like you are now the dumbest person in your class for doing that. Crypto Passion, what's up, bold dude? Do you mean bald? What's up, man? How's it going? Hey Wayne, how are you doing? GB buy. Oh, BG. Yeah. The brown gent. Nah, it's Andrew Tate. Speaking of Andrew Tate, I've started kickboxing. So I don't know if you guys saw my routine on X. Every day I do a minimum of 1 hour of cardio, and then I do kickboxing 3 times a week and weightlifting 4 times a week. And then I'm doing this like diet and whatever. It is helping. I'm starting to see my face lean out a bit. I don't know if you guys see it. You let me know. Even before this call, like I did 1 hour on the treadmill. Like burned like 800 calories, so it's pretty good. Tomorrow I'm gonna do 2 hours plus the kickboxing, just because, like, you know, when you start seeing results again, you want to do it. Like if you guys look at my original videos on YouTube, one of my earliest videos, like back in 2020, I had like, I think like 12% body fat with DEXA scan. Like I was like water fasting and doing all this stuff. Is crazy. Yeah. Thoughts on Jupiter? Let me bring it up. So Jupiter is going to announce their good cats very soon, right? So I believe that's at the end of the month. Let me just bring this up here. Yeah. So when you look, when you think about Jupiter, you've got to think about. It's so funny how these ads work. Like I bought some of these things yesterday. Let me show you this. So I bought this yesterday. I don't know if you guys seen this before. It's Baccarat Rouge 540. It is a nice cologne, super nice. But like ever since I did that, and I bought these things, it will literally like put the like craziest ads, man. Like that's the one thing I hate about the internet. Like they try to be so efficient that like they literally put up, you know, whatever you're looking for. Yeah. All right. Anyways, so I don't know what the hell this is. Spatial order. All right. So over here, right, you can see the price of Jupiter, and just look at this versus the Sol chart, right? So let's go to Sol, right? So Sol peaked on, what is this, January 19th. And January 19th is right here. But you can see here, right? Like there was this, and this is some, I think this is right before the airdrop, right? In that time period, this airdrop period. Oh, this was cat symbol, right? That was it. Cat symbol. And then beyond that, it just sold off just like Sol, right? Literally sold off just like Sol. So Jupiter's value, because it's the number one DEX on Sol, it's completely tied to Sol. So once you start seeing Sol recover, you'll start seeing Jupiter recover. It's basically Sol beta. Now, obviously there is an active staking rewards thing coming soon as well. So, you know, definitely, like, I still have my Jupiter staked. That being said, I'm still hoping that they give me the good cats for all the stuff I reported on about Jupiter in the last, like, I don't know, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, year, I guess a year. Yeah. I listened to Aaron James. I'm down bad, but Trump. Aaron James. What's that name? Who's Aaron James? Who's Aaron James? Oh, Aaron James. Now I remember. That idiot. I think he went broke, you guys. This is the guy who's like, he changed the market. It's over. Yeah, it's just gonna pop. We're there's no downside. Trump changed everything. Aaron James has got his internet disconnected. I feel bad for him. Hey, 1010 line, how's it going? What's my thoughts on whale who's shorting Bitcoin 40x leverage? So the thing is, like, I saw a lot of this on Twitter. It's hard to know like how much of it's real. Like sometimes when they do this, they have their position hedged. I know that Justin Sun and a few others are trying to whale hunt and do this stuff. At the end of the day, like they're shorting Bitcoin. I believe their liquidation price was $96,000 or some, not 96, $86,000. But they can always add more capital, right? Like they can play these bullshit games and do whatever they want, right? But at the end of the day, like we got to position ourselves for the future, right? So that's why I'm saying, you don't feel the need to just go, oh, like if you imagine you're playing poker, you're not shoving, you're not going all in with all your money here. You just say, okay, I'm gonna start buying. I'm gonna make sure I have some exposure so that if it starts running without me, I am happy. I won't chase, right? And if it comes down even more, then I can add to my position. What a lot of people do is they do what's called reverse pyramid, right? So they buy a little bit on the bottom, and then as you can see, right, it's as the price goes up, they're buying more and more and more. And then when the price comes down even a tiny bit, they're in the red. You want to buy when the price is lower, right? And you want to like do it like this. Okay. Hey Mike, how are you? Thoughts on Sui? Do I have an entry price? Let me bring it up. I think where is this? It's like $1.80 or something like that. I can't remember. What was it? Well, $2.74 is likely a very good spot. This was the previous like high, right, before we broke out. But at the end of the day, like here's the thing. I'm looking at Sui and I'm thinking about like all the VCs, right? It was like super high FDV. So I personally will likely not be touching Sui. What I am looking at is Sonic. So, you know, at the end of the last quarter, I guess, you had XRP, Sui, HBAR, whatever, they were leading, right? What is going to lead the next run? And I think Sonic is likely to be that one. I think Sonic is just a way better version of Sui, in my opinion. Like way faster, it's EVM compatible, right? So what the hell are we doing messing with Sui? I'm not even a fan of Sui, right? So but if you're looking for an entry, I think $2.07 isn't bad. We did tag it. And then below that, $1.74. Yeah, it's this one, right? $1.74. Okay. And trading patience is key. That's correct, right? So the market is basically a tool to transfer money from the impatient to the patient. So what we want to do, and what I want you guys to get the habit of doing, is buying dips and selling tops. Now, obviously, that makes a lot of sense, and everyone's like, well, who wouldn't do that? But people, you don't know what those are until in hindsight, and the only way to do this is to ladder out, sorry. So if you ladder out and ladder in, this is how you make the most money. Because remember, I'm not telling you that you need to capture 100% of the move, right? So 100% of the move on Sui was getting at 53 cents. And selling at 5.30. No, I bought my Sui at like $1.30, $1.40, and then sold it like on this other side here, right? Like It's like 450, 460. I can't remember. But like, this is where I was selling my SUI. So you don't need to be capturing all the moves. You just need to capture some of it, right? Look at the trends. This is why I say, guys, get a free trading view account. A free one will suffice because you can still use one indicator, right? You can add 10 or 15 charts. Tell yourself you're only going to have 10 tokens, right? Make a strict rule for yourself. You're putting your hard-earned money in this, right? So say, okay, I'm not going to be able to just buy stuff. This is your hard-earned money, right? You wouldn't put $1,000 in some random shit in real life, right? Some guy wants to sell you some beans to grow a beanstalk or whatever. Are you going to like go and give him $1,000? No. So in this case, for each thing you buy, you need to make a plan first and then you buy. Don't be buying before you make a plan, right? Some people like to plan out. Oh, I'll make a plan after I buy. No. Make the plan first. Figuring out where you want to enter that zones, right? You don't have to enter at a specific price, but a zone of entry and a zone of exits, right? You can have an invalidation as well on both. That's what I would do. Yeah, these are the people talking about working in an organization. Fantastic. I used SwapX for 3 weeks in pools at 200% average, automatic pool, and made 6 Sonic tokens only. Not a good ROI. Yeah, so it is a good Sonic drop. So FanMan, when I use SwapX, I do it with the least amount of risk. So what I do is I don't make a ton of money on it, but I make like maybe $3 or $4 a day, and I have like $5,000 of Sonic in there. I just have like Sonic with wrapped Sonic. And it's basically in a pool where there's no impermanent loss. And I earn, so SwapX plus that SwapX that I have earned in the past is earning me those rebase fees of like, maybe it's like $10 a week. Self-employed. Check the Shadow decks. Yeah, so Shadow's not bad. I got in their token a little earlier, flipped it. But I think some of their emissions is locked, right? Yeah. Resourceful, respect. Yes, you gotta be resourceful. FanMan, I've not sold since 2020. I rode those babies up and down. Yeah, so I get it, FanMan, but just imagine this for a second, right? I'm not telling you to do that, but imagine you knew, right? Okay, so ETH went from 4,000. Let's use ETH as an example. So go here. ETH was like 4,800 last cycle, right? 48.62 for ETH. Now, you obviously were never going to be able to sell a top, right? You weren't. But the moment you got the downtrend, right? Like I said, follow me on this, right? You basically found the downtrend. You ended up selling it like 4,100 something. I don't know, right? Then it comes down all the way, and maybe you end up buying here because you think this is the bottom, right? So you buy at 2,400. You would basically still have like 60%. 60, maybe you have 40%, 45% more ETH than you do today. So there's a lot of value in doing this. Now, let's say you live in a place where you have capital gains taxes. What you can do instead is you can still hold on to your assets and you can buy option contracts. You can buy a put or you can buy a call. You buy a put if you are thinking the price is going to come down. You buy called if you think the price is going to go up, if you want to be long on it. But these are other ways for you to make money on what is a very clear upside and a very clear downside, right? On top of your additional holdings, right? And your holdings will hedge against them too. So this is something that I would really recommend you look into, FanMan. And I don't know if you're part of the Web3 Secret Society, but I made a video showing how to do all of that 2 weeks ago, I think, and it's recorded for people to watch. But I really think you are leaving money on the table if you only know how to be long in the market. You are not going to make the most amount of money you can. And there's a tremendous amount of money to be made going short on the market at the right time, being smart and not being an idiot. And these are the things that I'm going to share as we get close to it. But when I share these things, if you don't understand how puts and calls work, not going to help you. And most appropriately, it's going to be puts. First time you've seen the gent without a hat? Yeah, I don't feel like wearing it. And like, honestly, really? I think for the most part, I do wear a hat in videos, but whatever. I can't be bothered. Sometimes I'll wear it, sometimes I won't. This is like a different outfit, anyways, too. So I'm like just chilling. You bought ETH at 68. Wow. Yeah, so that's very good. But remember, just because you got it at 688, if you knew it was going to 4,000 and back, why wouldn't you want to make the extra multiples? You know what I'm saying? So fan man, I understand you're like, hey, you're very like, I want to hold on to this forever. But there's an opportunity to lock in and make more money. And maybe puts and calls are better for you than just trading off your existing holdings. When does the Hyperlane airdrop? Can't be asked. Are you from the UK, JP? Like, I never see anyone say CBA. Can't be asked. My sister lives there, and she always writes CBA to me. So I'm like, can't be asked, right? To farm anymore. The fees are too expensive. You think the fees are expensive? Oh, Hyperlane, not Hyperliquid. I'm very wrong. Yeah. So, I don't know what is happening. Honestly, I don't prioritize it anymore either. I don't think you have to be current with it, but like I would focus more on layer 0 airdrop than Hyperlane, to be honest, right? So like if you can, select Stargate when you're using Jumper or something, that's not bad. And that's probably all I will do to it. One more rally to your 3.6 total market cap, then a real flash crash and a pump. I don't know. What I look at that instead here is where's the Bitcoin price? What do I do? Oh, this is the Bitcoin I changed. So the way these things work, right? I talked about this before, is they will go to So we'll go here and do this. So let's take a look over here, right? This is the weekly. Let's look at the daily again. Bitcoin. So what it does typically is we have levels, right? So they're bounced to a level. So the bounce likely can go to 90,500, 94K. Usually we have those things, but once again, just look at SPY, right? Like it's not just, you look at total, right? But I look at SPY, look at a lot of confluence of factors. And at the end of the day, it's impossible to predict where they're going to do it, right? But just once again, focus on being able to ladder in and ladder out and make money on these. So one of the things I do is I have a position that I just strictly hold on to. I don't touch it. And then I have a position where I will buy and sell. And now I use perp dexes to basically make those moves all the time. Did I get the Walrus airdrop? No. Price target, I would sell it instantly. Is the Walrus token out already? $2.35. Wait, no, this can't be it. This is like low liquidity. Maybe it's not it. Personally, just my general feedback on any sort of asset like airdrop like this is, would you buy this if you had the cash right now? The answer is no, which 99.9% of the time is a no. Just sell it. Buy whatever you have conviction in, or have it in stable coins, and use it to buy something in real life or take your family on a trip or whatever you want, right? Good advice? Yeah. Yes. It's super important to not try to be an expert in everything. 100%. Just know what you're good at. That guy Miles is such a, I was a newbie in crypto. I used to follow him. Oh, great. The Cosmos ecosystem, right? Yes. I think it's a sort of rites of initiation that people join crypto and buy Cosmos assets and get screwed by them. Like I made a lot of money in Cosmos assets, and I'm pretty sure I still left that ecosystem down. It's just so bad. And by the way, if you do have Atom and you're trying to sell it, or unstake it, you can do that right away. Just go to Stride. There's a website called Stride Zone, and I would use them. They have a liquid staker, and it's really cool because you can pull in. Where is this? You can literally click on this to use your staked balance from any atom you have staked, and it turns it automatically into liquid staked atom or Stride atom, which you can trade instantly. So if anyone watching this who wants to get out of atom, go to Stride Zone and click the use stake balance, convert it into Stride atom, and then use Osmos Zone to swap your Stride atom into atom, and then sell it for whatever you want. Okay. What's my take on Merkle? Is this the one where they had like those different raises? I don't know too much about it. I ended up avoiding it. I saw a lot of like weird things going on with their founder on Twitter. Nice guy, it seems, but they just kept like upping the sizes and whatever. So I just chose not to do it. Here's my lesson. In this space, it is so easy to launch something that majority of the time, if you buy something without any indication of demand, you will end up losing. So case in point, with Soul Layer, we knew there was insane demand, right? And they basically like, their token has held up very well, right? Right now, I believe the token is $1.15, or at least it was yesterday. And this is a token that got airdropped and had a private sale, right? So I tried to private sale it. My 3 different KYC attempts failed. But at the end of the day, we knew what the demand was. Same thing goes. Anytime you have an oversubscription model where it tells you, it's oversubscribed by 30,000%, whatever, you know that there's a lot of money to be made there because of the demand, right? But things like this, when you can't know, you're taking on too much of a risk, and too many of these projects there's no consequences for scamming their audience, right? I'm not saying Merkle will. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that. But I had that happen to me with iLoop. I had that happen to me with a bunch of other projects like NX Finance, things like this. Obviously, ironically, a lot of these are Solana ecosystem projects, but still, right? Pike Finance, EVM, another thing, right? These all they do their private sale or their pre-sale, and then when the launch happens, oh, oops, we unlocked all the tokens by accident. Sorry, you're down 95% when you didn't do anything, right? So I would just be very hesitant to join any campaigns to take money, because at the end of the day, most of the time you will just get a loss. Unless you know what the demand is ahead of time, don't buy into that stuff. What are my plans ahead of the Fed Reserve's next interest rate decision? So this is for this week's FOMC on Wednesday. Basically, I have been buying because, number one, I think it's been priced in that there will be no rate cuts right now. I think we're looking for a rate cut later in the year, and that's what we're seeing what the voting is like. There's also the Bank of Japan is announcing some stuff too, right? The last time they announced something was really bad. But like I said, I want to be somewhat positioned, and then I'm hoping we pump into it. Then I will sell some of that, like I've been telling you guys. And if not, I will be able to DCA and buy even more, right? So that's why I said I'm laddering in slowly. Miles always looks like he just left the club after all. Yeah, the thing is, so Miles looks like he lives, or he may live somewhere else. I think he lives in Dubai now, ironically, but I think he's like, he looks European. And let me tell you something. I used to play professional Magic the Gathering, plus 15 years ago, right? And what happened, right, was a lot of the European pros, these guys, like even European players, some of them are very smart, but all of them are the biggest grifters, the biggest nickel and dimers. They're like, oh, they'll do anything for $1. You know what I mean? So, and they all act like they know everything. So I would just be very careful around these guys. And I don't say this to be racist. I'm just saying this was my experience, right? And I think Americans can be arrogant too, but I just felt like a lot of the European stuff I ran into was just like this. And I say this as somebody who used to live in Europe too, right? So, I mean, it is what it is, right? Just be very careful around people like Miles. very little ethics. That being said, there are some very nice people there too, right? I'm talking about the people who come out here with this attitude of being arrogant. They typically end up being like nickel and dimers. What I think about this whale who opened up at 300, was that question I asked me earlier or no? Yeah. Like I said, you never know when these guys open it if they have a hedge somewhere else, right? So they can do a delta neutral trade. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. They can open it. Fantastic. I have the money to buy a ton more if that happens, if it goes down a lot. I know they were hunting it, 86K liquidation, and the price of Bitcoin has gone up, but it is what it is. You open a couple $1 million long on hype also. Yep. Miles is so bad. Miles is horrible. He's an idiot. Water fasts are amazing. I took it so far once. Holy shit. I did 11 days. The crazy part about a water fast is the first 2 days. People don't know this, but it's the second day's headaches that are the literal worst. If you can get past day 2 and the massive migraines you have, and I remember I was watching like those competitions of who can eat the most, like how many McDonald's combos can you finish in half an hour? I don't know why I was doing this, but this is like back in 2019, right? But it was crazy. So what happened was you have so much energy because your digestion system shuts down. You don't poop, right? You're just peeing all the time. You got to set your pH balance with like, what's it called? Pink Himalayan salt and apple cider vinegar. And then, you're bouncing off the wall with so much energy. You're not hungry until like a little after, like I think like day 8 or 9, I started sniffing cookies, just get the smell of it. And then you'd lose like a ton of weight. You'd lose like a pound a day or something. It was like, especially because I was doing all the cardio and working out at the same time too. It was amazing. Honestly, like I really want to do it again. S tier cologne, yeah, fantastic. Yeah, I bought a couple yesterday, but really like that one. I bought the 200 milliliter bottle, so I just buy these. I'm like, I want them. It was just way better value in a bigger size, right? The new vote started today. Yeah, I'm gonna do another video for airdrops. I just did one recently. So, Sean Shepard. Are AVAX and Link good opportunities for a 5 to 10x? I think AVAX is cooked. I don't know. I probably wouldn't touch AVAX. I sold almost all my AVAX. I got like maybe 1 token or 2 tokens. I had hundreds and hundreds of AVAX in the bear market. Bought it at $12 to $18. Sold the majority at 50 to 60, and then sold the rest at like 35 to 40. Not touching it. Link, however, could be good. Once again, not touching it. Remember, Sean, the question is, what's your conviction? Why do you think they're good? Avalanche is the home of gaming, but it's just like, think about change. I'd rather just have Sonic, Also, let me also put this other perspective there. Let me bring up the Avalanche chart for you. You want to avoid charts where like people are massively underwater, right? So like this is the market cap one. AVAX. Okay. And let's go back to last cycle where it was like massive. You see this? Like we're playing a kiddies game here. We're playing the sandbox, but like look back here, right? The price of Avalanche at one point is 148. So what does that tell you? Let me go to the weekly just to sort of bring this more into perspective. Okay. So what you have to recognize is when you're buying something, right? The thesis is good, fantastic, right? It can be good. But don't forget, you are also battling against bag holders who are looking for an exit. So if I draw, where the hell is the rectangle? So right here, everyone in here is in red, right? So as this happens, people will be looking to sell. trying to exit. So as you go up, there's so many people underwater who are looking to dump on your head. And what is the reason for this? This has to go up like how much, right? Like 27x just to get to price discovery. In my opinion, this token is cooked. Maybe it does a 2x pump, but remember, this is no longer the last cycle where we had to rely on, oh, there's only 20 tokens available to bid on, so every token went up. Now there's going to be so many more tokens to be selected from, which means that not everything will pump anymore. The rising tide doesn't have to lift all boats. So can Avalanche go to 30, 40, 50 maybe? I don't know. Probably. But do I see it doing a 5 or 10x? Probably not. I would not want to bet on it. Am I thinking of doing 2? Am I still thinking? I could. Problem is, like, once again, it's the audience for this will be very different, right? Like, once again, I know there are a few people who would love to see it, but I think the majority of people would love to see crypto stuff, right? When they come here. So it would have to be another channel. And those videos take a lot of editing. So maybe I will do it. Maybe if I make enough money in crypto, I can hire an editor and film crew to follow me around and do that. Good evening, BG. Did you farm agent? No, I did not. What is that? AGNT? Remember, there's tons of airdrops, right? So agent.hub. No, I did not. What's my entry price on Sonic? I'm trying to remember. I know in the Discord I told our members I sold a bunch at 90 cents recently, and I've been buying back. This chart is. I'm gonna look at the FTM chart because the chart for Sonic is not the best because obviously it doesn't include the FTM price action, which is right here. So yeah, I sold at 90 cents. I bought some back here, but like I did buy some at $1.13 or whatever before, right? Not all the way up here, but I'd say like I'm a little underwater on it, but not by much over here. So I think this is going to be a very strong token going forward. And they're also having the airdrop, I believe, in June. Can you buy alcohol in Dubai? Yes. So in Dubai, you have to get an alcohol license. You get it the first time you buy something. You know what I mean? So that's what I do. I have a habit. I like to always buy a bottle of champagne. I don't even like drinking it. Like I just leave. I just like having it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Hey Zira, how's it going? Nice to see your new look. Thank you. Looking dope. Yep. Got my I'm in my duplex. So yeah, thank you. Button voting on SwapX on Sonic, does it legit give the estimated remote? Yeah, it does. Remember 1010 line. So here's what I will say. Those rewards come down as people jump in. So, but if you look at it on day 3, it's more accurate indicator, right? If you go in the first minute, then you get the max. And then as people jump in, it gets smaller, smaller, smaller. So within the first couple of days, you'll have an idea of what the true reward looks like. I wish I had 10 projects. Last count 172. Ah! Jesus. Still in the green though, but close to break even. Nice. Yeah, you gotta consolidate, man. You can't be a pack rat. You're confused by the voting system? Yeah. So, Greg, here's how it works. Basically, from what I understand, you go to SwapX, you go to vote. Let me see if I can bring this up. Show you. Okay. So, go to my positions. You see here, I got like. Okay, sorry, it's not 5,000. It's 4,907. You know what I mean. And I have it in S and, staked S and wrapped Sonic, right? So I can claim my reward here, $3.07, whatever, right? And then basically you go to voting. And when you vote, every time you deposit SwapX in here, you have like an ID, right? Each time it comes with the weight. So 326 votes here, 38 votes here, 102, whatever. So let's say I go to this one, 9.3. I haven't voted on it because honestly could be bothered. I look down here and I go, okay, what's giving me the best rate of return, right? OS USDC or USDCE dot. Yeah, let me take this off so you can see it. USDCE./STS. Here, great. So what I do, I hit max. 100% of it goes here. Scroll up, I hit cast votes, and then I sign something, and that's it. Does that make sense? It's as simple as that. So you just do that, and then for that week, you will get 9.3 divided by 1,000 times this, or whatever, how much you have. So if I did this for the one that had 326, then I would get 1/3 of this amount. Does this make sense? And then you just check your rewards, and it comes here at the end of every epoch, right? So when does this epoch end? It'll say right here, 2 days and 4 hours. Okay, so you got to vote at the start of every epoch. Okay, I have 100 Adam Man. I bought it when it was 10. Never touching the Cosmos. Yikes! Sorry to hear that. If you want to feel bad, I had Adam when it was $40, man. Back in 2021. I had Juno when it was at like 50, and Juno's like less than $1 now, I think. Yeah, it was bad. This is bad. Oh man, I can't fast. I got chronic gastritis. Yikes! Sorry to hear that, man. There's nothing you can do with your pH levels to fix that. No. Is a headache a sugar withdrawal? It could be. I think it's because your body like starts relying on ketosis, right? Like the ketones. So it probably is a sugar withdrawal. I'm not sure. I just assumed it was just like hunger pains or whatever that you just have to work through. But it could be that. I wonder if there's a way for me to not get the sugar withdrawal if that's the case. I'm gonna find out. That's a good point. DH, I'll check it out. Also, love the haircut or the hairstyle. Same sort of thing, right? Love your videos. Found you during DFK. Glad to make it through that period. Yeah. Oh my God. DFK is like a skid mark in the face of crypto. Honestly, like so much potential, completely ruined by people who could care less about actually developing something. Even now, like their token's worth 5 cents. The people there call me like an idiot for selling at 80 cents, like in December of 23. And these guys just keep losing money. I don't know. I honestly don't know why people still waste their time on it when the team has shown that they have zero care about anything that happens. And they're effectively, from what I've heard, they're effectively using their player base as piggy bank. So they just keep diluting them, selling tokens and doing whatever they need to do. And then somehow they get more people to join. Don't know how. Maybe one day they'll actually have something playable besides like that same like combat sequence they've had for the last 2 years. Hey, Oxy, appreciate the kind words. Do I think it's worth ordering the Solana secret phone? Probably not. Like, I think the time to order that phone was at the start, right? Is this the new one or is this the old one? Sorry. Oh, I'm thinking about chapter 2. Usually devices seem to be fine because you get rewards, but personally, I wouldn't touch a Sol thing right now. Like if you're gonna do that, just buy some Solana tokens. You know what I'm saying? Do I still think Eclipse will be big? Yeah, I do. I think Eclipse is huge. I think if you want to do well in Eclipse, I know people like doing this like turbo tap. I think you should be making sure you have an ASC or some NFTs off scope, providing liquidity through Orca or Invariant, right? Get the third one. And then, yeah, just, play around in their ecosystem, watch their AMAs. I think it's a fantastic ecosystem, just Sol and ETH coming together. You can't beat it. Good show as always. Appreciate it. Thank you, Indifference. For those having so many coins, what's your advice to them? What should they do now? You're asking for yourself. Here's the thing. Here's what I would look at, Zira. Just ask yourself the question. Make a table. Go through this, right? I do this in my coaching calls, but you don't need one to do this, right? Make a table of everything you have. So in first column, token. Second column, the amount you have. Third column, like your entry price, if you remember it, your average cost basis, your acquisition cost. And fourth is the percentage of your portfolio. And fifth one, rationale for holding. Because here's the thing, if you have 100 tokens, right, or whatever, it tells me you don't know what's good. You are spraying and praying and hoping to do well. But then what you end up doing is you're diluting your winner with a bunch of losers, right? So at that point, if instead of just doing that, you're just better off buying Bitcoin and just holding Bitcoin. If you want to buy a ton of coins, you need to be very specific on what you pick and also have a very strong conviction as to why you're doing that. Does that make sense? Is your portfolio still public? Just wondering. Yep. So here's the thing. What you guys see is a farming wallet, right? So for me, I don't say this to be arrogant, but like I have $50, $100 in a token. I don't count that as having a token. I'm looking at like big balances, right? Big balances like ETH, Bitcoin, Sol, Hyperliquid, Ondo, right? And I think I have like 13 or 14 tokens, something like that. But at the end of the day, I have a plan and conviction on the ones I buy, right? A lot of people just go, oh, I can have a wallet with anything. I'll buy one of these and I'll buy one of those. This is not like you're not going around with a shopping cart and trying to do a shopping spree. You are trying to be strategic and use your funds to get you the best return possible in an intelligent way, right? Hey, BG. Hey, how's it going, Adri? I'm good. Your opinion, not financial advice, of course. What are the 5 crypto assets you would keep? Or like, so Bitcoin and ETH, no brainers. Okay, they should make up a steady part of your portfolio. A third one would typically be at this stage Hyperliquid, then Pepe, and then for the fifth one, probably like BitTensor, like an AI exposure asset if it's only 5. So meme, AI, 2 solid ones, and my big speculation bet in Hyperliquid. Those are the 5 if I had to pick 5. If you asked me this question a few months ago, I would probably have included Sol here over probably over BitTensor. But yeah. By the way, I'm back in the Yap Club. Yeah, I saw you in there. Sweet. Oh, so you got into deal 8 with Wayfinder? That's awesome. Because I voted for Wayfinder, but I didn't get rewarded for it because I was part of deal 7. So it wasn't included, but it's good to hear. Is it too late to farm Eclipse? Nope. Watch my video. I have a video on here, a very clear walkthrough on how to do that. JP, you didn't answer me. Are you from the UK? Because you said CBA. Can't be asked. Am I correct? Is that what it is? Thank you so much, BG. Always appreciate your advice. Yeah, not a problem, Zero. I hope you're well. I hope your kid's doing well too. You know. Why not Sol anymore? It's not Sol anymore. It's just if I had to pick between 5, in the last month or two, it's become very clear what the Sol ecosystem was being used for. Obviously, the tech is fantastic, but a lot of the founders are overlooking a lot of the stuff that is going on with it. So Sol also having a bunch of unlocks makes it not as lucrative for me. Whereas, for example, Bitcoin is super safe. ETH is very undervalued, right? It's very close. It's closer to its bear market bottom than it is the all-time high, right? It's sort of, they call it ultrasound money, whatever, right? And then Hyperliquid is my speculation bet. That's the one that I expected to outperform, right? That's the utility one that I expect to outperform. And then I have Pepe, which is the meme coin, which I expect to outperform. And then finally, I have BitTensor, which is my AI, my AI exposure. It could just as easily be Render, but I think BitTensor with the subnets and everything is likely going to outperform that, given enough time. So that's the reason why. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. We've been on for about an hour and 20 minutes. It's about midnight here. I need to get to bed, but thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this content, you want to see more of this stuff, please smash the like button. Would really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Twitter. Let me know what you think of the new vibe, the new setup, how all this stuff is going. I want to keep adding more things. I will be working on a soundboard going forward to get us back up to speed. Tell me if you think there's any other improvements I can make. And remember, nothing I say here is financial advice. Please, guys, what I don't want to see happen is months from now, you tell me that you were just sidelined, you didn't want to buy anything. And oh my God, I'm so dumb. I just realized at the end of this video, because I was filming something, I didn't put the background on the whole time. We didn't have any of this up. But whatever, so be it. It's all good. I hope you guys have a good night, and I'll see you next time. Thanks again for watching.